Hello, this is Miss Joyce again from Pop Story Gimme Time. Today's story, Anancy and Turtle, is an African folktale written in standard English, coming from the African Storybook. One day, Anancy the spider picked some yams from his garden. They were extra delicious yams, so he baked them carefully in the fire. Then he sat down to eat them up. Just as Anancy was about to put the first bite in his mouth, he heard a knock on the door. Oh no, thought Anancy. Who can that be? But he opened the door. There was Turtle, who looked very tired. Turtle said, Anancy, please let me in. I've walked so far today and I'm so tired and hungry. So what could Anancy do but let him in? Anancy was too selfish to share his delicious yams with anybody else. So he came up with a tricky plan. Just as Turtle sat down at the table and began to reach for some yams, Anancy yelled at him, Turtle, your hands are all dirty. You can't eat with your hands all dirty. Go wash them. Turtle's hands were really dirty, so he slowly crawled to the river, washed his hands, and then crawled back. But meanwhile, Anancy had started gobbling up the yams. By the time Turtle got back, he saw that the yams were all gone. Turtle looked at Anancy. Thank you for inviting me to dinner. If you are ever near my house, please come by and let me return the favor, said Turtle. And Turtle began crawling slowly away to his house. As time went by, Anancy began to think more and more about how Turtle had promised to feed him a free dinner. So one day he walked over to Turtle's house. Anancy got to Turtle's house just about dinner time, as the sun was going down over the river. Turtle was lying on a rock in the sun, warming himself up, as turtles do. When Turtle saw Anancy, he said, Hello there, Anancy. Have you come to have dinner with me? And Anancy said, Yes, that would be very nice, thank you. He was getting hungrier and hungrier. So Turtle dived down to the bottom of the river to set the table for dinner and get everything ready. Anancy waited on the rocks by the shore. Soon Turtle ran back up and said, Oh, Anancy, it is all ready now. Please join me for dinner. And Turtle dived down again and began to eat the green leaves he had for dinner. Anancy tried to dive down to the bottom of the river, but he was a spider, not a turtle, and he couldn't dive that deep. He kept floating back up to the surface again. He tried jumping in, he tried diving in, but nothing helped. He just couldn't get down to that dinner. Finally, Anancy had an idea. He put lots of stones in the pockets of his coat. Finally, he was heavy enough to sink down to the bottom of the river. How clever he was! He saw Turtle's table full of juicy green leaves and lots of other delicious food. Anancy's mouth was watering. But just as Anancy was reaching for some of that delicious food, Turtle stopped him. Anancy, surely you're not going to eat dinner with your coat on. That's not how we do things down here in our house. Anancy, without thinking, said, "Oh, of course, you're right. Turtle, what was I thinking?" He took off his coat. But without the rocks in his pockets to hold him down, Anancy floated right back to the surface of the river again and popped out of the water. Anancy sadly put his head down in the water and watched Turtle eat up all of that delicious food. Now, who do you believe won the battle of the minds this time? Was it Anancy or was it Turtle? Tell me in the comments section below. And please share it with your friends and ask Mommy and Daddy to subscribe. See you next time.